But looking back at the beginning of his career, David's first action after consolidating power will be to attack the Canaanite stronghold of Jebus, a move undertaken for purely political reasons. David recognizes that in order to hold a confederacy together, a centrally located capital will be a key ingredient. He and his general, Joab, attack the Jebusites by stealth, gaining entrance to the city via an underground water channel that cuts directly beneath the walls and fortified towers. The unsuspecting inhabitants are taken by surprise and promptly massacred. David, of course, is never one to shrink from bloodshed. Can archaeology perhaps verify this account? And with it, the existence of the historical David? At the end of October 1867, Sir Charles Warren, an officer in the British Royal Engineers and one of the earliest European archaeologists of the Holy Land, explored a hand-chiseled conduit leading from Jerusalem's ancient water source, the Gihon Spring. Warren recorded the adventure in his journal. It was easy walking until we reached 600 feet into the tunnel. Then we began crawling on all fours. As we saw bits of cabbage stalks floating by, we realized that the waters had started to rise. There I was, with a pencil, compass, and field book in my hands, and the candle, for the most part, in my mouth. My companion and I had just 4 inches of breathing space. When observing, my mouth was underwater. Where the tunnel began at the spring, I noticed that the water first collected in an underground, cave-like chamber. With the help of my team and local Arab workers, we cleaned out the cave and found the entrance to a tunnel. We followed it for 40 feet, where it ended in a curious shaft, which rose into the darkness above our heads. A few days later, we returned to climb the shaft. By jamming the boards against the side of the shaft, we succeeded in getting up 20 feet. On lighting a piece of magnesium wire, we could see 20 feet above us. A piece of loose masonry impending directly above our heads. And as several loose pieces had been found at the bottom, it occurred to both of us that our position was critical. Without speaking of it, we eyed each other ominously and wished we were a little higher up. We kept climbing to find another tunnel at the top of the shaft and a series of caves leading up towards a blocked entrance. Slowly, it dawned on us that we had unearthed a hidden water system leading to the spring from somewhere on the southeastern ridge. This, coupled with the ancient wall and the tunnel leading to the pool of Siloam, had striking implications. It meant that there had definitely been a settlement outside the city medieval walls. At 900 feet into the tunnel, we discovered false turns and began to go in a zigzag direction. It was here that I inadvertently swallowed part of my lead pencil, nearly choking. When we came out shivering, it was dark. We had been nearly 4 hours in the water. It took another 100 years for the full meaning of Warren's discovery to be grasped. The most ancient part of Jerusalem was, in fact, outside what we call today the old city walls. It was located on the ridge to the southeast, not far from the water source. If there were a David, this is the place he would have called home. Nonetheless, Charles Warren's water system, known today as Warren's Shaft, appears not to be made by human hands, as it was assumed for over a century, but is rather a natural limestone sinkhole. It's unlikely that David would have entered the city in this way. The excavations Warren began were destined to continue over the next 100+ years, and the final verdict has yet to be delivered. But in the last few years of the 20th century, reconstruction work beneath a new visitor center being erected in the vicinity uncovered an unknown tunnel. It led from the main tunnel to another feeding pool, affording free access and bypassing Warren's shaft entirely. Pottery dating to between 2000 and 1550 before the Common Era, well before the time of David, was also recovered in this tunnel. What this means is that just as Warren's shaft seemed to be debunked, another candidate for David's secret tunnel appeared. Could the Bible's version of the city's conquest be spot on after all?